There's something uncomfortable about adulthood. No one's coming to save you. Not the government, not your parents, not your school, not your friends, and not your boss. And that's not cruelty, that is reality. But you see, we keep asking the same question, and that is, why won't young men rise? Why won't they work? Why won't they commit? Why won't they lead? Why won't they fight for anything? But maybe the question is wrong, because somewhere along the way, we stopped requiring them to climb. We removed initiation, and now we're surprised that fewer people become adults. That is the disturbance. And this is Empty Promises to You. Right now in this country, there are 19-year-olds waking up at 6 a.m., working construction jobs, learning trades, serving, building, grinding. And then there are 19-year-olds living in digital sedation, gaming, avoiding, waiting for something to change. It's the same age and the same era, but completely different outcomes. So what is the difference? I mean, is it intelligence? Is it opportunity? Or is it economics? Or maybe it's just something else. Maybe the real difference is expectation. Because somewhere along the line, we replaced initiation with explanation, discomfort with accommodation, correction with negotiation. And now we're confused about the result? You see, civilizations survive on competence. And competence requires discipline. And discipline requires discomfort. And discomfort requires leadership willing to enforce it. So if no one demands assent, you get prolonged adolescence. And that is not political, it is structural. I mean, if no one demands assent, most people stay where it is easy. Remove the climb, and you don't get freedom, you get drift. And drift always meets consequence. But here's where the tension appears. High school graduation rates today are higher than they were 25 years ago. I mean, we're sitting around the high 80% range nationally. We got more diplomas, more credentials, and more completion. So on paper, we look more educated than ever. But you see, the military uses a test called the ASVAB. It's basic math, reading comprehension, mechanical reasoning, and problem solving. I mean, it's not advanced calculus, and we're not talking about rocket science. It's baseline competence. And the problem is, a significant number of young adults cannot meet the minimum score required for enlistment. And we're not talking about elite roles. I'm not talking about special forces. We're talking about basic entry. And that's not opinion, that is measurable. And we need to talk about the GED. Yes, many who attempt it pass. But fewer young people are even attempting it today. So something strange happened. We increased credentials while decreasing demonstrated readiness in areas that measure real-world capability. So the real question becomes, did we prepare them for life? Or did we prepare them just to pass? Because a diploma is paper, capability is survival. Parents. Parents love their children. They don't want conflict and they don't want tears. They don't want to be the villain. So they smooth, they rescue, they explain away. But love without boundaries becomes indulgence. And indulgence without correction becomes weakness. That does not make parents evil. It makes them human. But human leadership without structure produces fragile outcomes. And fragility, well, it does not survive reality. You see, I grew up on powdered milk and food stamps with a single mother raising 4 kids. She got no applause because it was not glamorous and it was not trauma analyzed. It was survival. And nobody asked if it felt fair because we learned early life does not negotiate. And that didn't make us bitter, it made us capable. And when I was in school, we did have wood shop, we did have metal shop, and we had home economics, we had sewing, we had welding, and they gave us basic finance. We learned how to build, we learned how to cook, we learned how to fix, and we learned how to manage money. We were trained for life, and not just tests. But somewhere along the way, we decided those things weren't necessary anymore. You see, adulthood did not disappear just because we removed the classes. And struggle isn't the enemy. Unpreparedness is. I don't resent hardship. I resent wasted potential. And I see too much potential just sitting still. Now, step back and ask the bigger question. What happens to a culture when initiation disappears? When no one says, you will rise? When no one requires strength, requires service, requires contribution? And if leaders does not demand assent, the street will. And guess what? The street is not gentle. Because every culture in history had some form of initiation, a moment when childhood ended and responsibility began. And sometimes it was service, and sometimes it was labor, and sometimes it was hardship. But it always required assent. And without that climb, people don't suddenly become free. They drift. And drifting cultures don't remain stable for long. Because reality eventually arrives with expectations, whether we prepared people for them or not. This is not an attack on youth. It is a challenge to leadership. If you're a parent, require assent. If you're young, choose it anyway. Because no one is coming to save you. Not the system, not the culture, not comfort. And adulthood is not automatic. It is built. And if we stop building it, gravity builds something else. We can keep promising comfort, and we can keep promising understanding, we can keep promising safety. But if we stop promising growth, we are handing out empty futures. I am MT, and this is Empty Promises to You, because I'm done with the empty promises to you.